I'm good. Hello everyone, Denise Carpenter from Reiki Associates here, and today we're going to continue on with the playlist Conversations with Denise. Today I'm joined by Barry Russell, a retired science teacher who's had a lifelong interest in the natural world. Now, in light of making the audio a little bit clearer, Barry, if you're okay, we'll remove these masks.
I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that? There we go. So welcome to today, and rocks are one of my rocks and stones and crystals, one of my favorite topics. So today I thought Barry could join us, and we're going to do a discussion about rocks and how they incorporate in with your chakra system, how to use the rocks, and then I have a very special request to make of Barry at the end of our conversation today. So welcome, Barry.
Thank you, Denise. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So our chakra system consists of this beautiful energy patterning that we have throughout our body. And how would you describe the energy of stones, rocks, crystals? How do you see that incorporating in with the physicality of our human system?
Well, first of all, I'm a scientist, so I look for evidence, and you know what? There isn't any. But it's like a lot of things in science, we don't know why acupuncture really works, and it does work. And there's lots of things we don't know why they work, but they work. So if our discussion today helps you out with rocks and using them in your practice, so be it. And if you don't believe in them, or if it doesn't do anything for you, that's fine too.
Exactly.
There's no hard and fast rules.
There are no, everything's possible.
Exactly.
Everything's possible. So if we were to say with my Reiki practice, people come in all the time. Not all the time, but many people will come in with their own stones, where they've had a favorite stone that they've been drawn to when they're out shopping, or just something they've picked up along the way that helps them to feel better. So let's say somebody was working through a root chakra issue, the base chakra issue. What kind of a stone would you recommend for that?
Well, again, it's no rules. Root chakra, red color, but the root chakra is red. Do you need to use a red stone? Maybe you do. What would happen if you used a different color? I don't know. Maybe nothing. If your favorite stone isn't red, is that going to make a difference? Who knows? Okay. But if it works for you, go with it. Now, if we were just going to expand a little bit on root chakra, a red stone or something that's red, I really like sapphires. And a red sapphire is called a ruby. And sapphires are a power stone. They're a knowledge stone. They're an intuition stone. So if you were trying to work through something or whatever, and you wanted to use a ruby, it would probably be a good choice to use. So you could run with that, and you could actually you could sit with the ruby over your base chakra or not. What would happen if you held it in your hand? Yeah. And in my experience, when people have come to get a stone, or they've got a stone or whatever, a lot of times they have no idea. And the beauty to having a whole bunch of stones to play with is there's no rules. Try one. Try one on that chakra and one in your hand.
Good idea.
Mix and match. Yeah. And if it works, great. And you may find that you do have a favorite stone that really works for you, but does it work in all occasions, and do you always have to hold it in your right hand or whatever? I have favorite stones that I really like, and sometimes I find them more effective than others. And if I come in for a Reiki treatment and drop my favorite iolite on my forehead, usually it works, but not always. So again, go with what works.
So let's go back to the root chakra. So I can really see, I didn't know that rubies were part of the sapphire family. So that's cool to know that. Now, if you were looking for grounding, because often root chakra is about safety, security, those kind of things.
Yeah.
If you were looking for a grounding stone, you wouldn't use a ruby then.
You can, because
You can?
a ruby is red, and red is grounding and getting into yourself and coming from your strength, your root, your core. So ruby would be good. If you were, there's so many things that you could intuit from, root chakra. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? All those things could come up, and you may, you may say, well, you know what? I don't have a lot of strength to build on, so I need to build strength. Well, again, that's root chakra. That's your base, your core. I would, if someone was asking me about that, and it was root chakra that they were concerned about, I would go ruby. I would also possibly go a pink stone, just to throw a wrench in the gears. And there's one that's called morganite that is a really, really soft, warm stone. So if you sort of needed that, okay, I just need to go into myself and relax and build up here, it's a really nice stone. It doesn't scare you. It's not edgy and anything like that. And it might be a nice one to use. The same with rose quartz, similar thing. It's a healing stone. It's not as strong as a ruby for giving you strength, but it's going to build on what you've got.
Wonderful. Now you've got a whole selection you can't see here, but just sitting to the right of Barry is a whole selection of stones. So if you had to pick do you have a favorite stone in that collection there?
I like all these guys. All these guys have personalities, and it's not. Okay. Well, I always go to this guy. So, I didn't even bring my iolite, the one I really like.
Okay.
But
So who's jumping out? Who wants to be on the video?
Well, we were talking about rubies, so I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab an example of ruby, and I'm gonna hold that up, and we'll do maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
So here are your options. Let's say you decided that, root chakra is where I want to go, and ruby is where I want to go. Here's a chunk of ruby. So I'm holding that up, and hopefully it gets big enough that we go right up to there.
Okay, so not that glowing red that you would often see in jewelry then.
Nope, this is an uncut ruby.
Okay.
It is rough, it's edgy, and this particular one is kicking me right now. So if you needed that kick and you walked into Denise's and this guy was sitting there and it called to you and you wanted to sit down and hold on to that, you could do that.
Yeah.
But you might pick it up, and I've had experiences with Denise where I've handed her something and she sort of, and it's, it's just too much. So you may say, I like that stone, but that one, not so much.
Okay.
So here's another option. Here's a smaller ruby, but it's clearer. So I'm going to try to hold this guy, and I'm going to come up closer.
Yeah.
And it's much smaller and clearer. It's still a rough cut ruby. This is how it was found. It hasn't had any magic done to it. So it's rough cut. And a lot of times the rough stones, they're just the way they were found, so they're fine. And you might say, that one's a lot more gentle. And ruby comes in anything from red to pink. So you say, I like that one, but this one here seems to attract me. Well, try that one. So you decide, and instead of going red, you're going to go with this one here. And that's still a ruby, but it's
Oh,
pink.
It's pink, yeah. Huh.
So again, we're still talking the same chakra and we're still talking the same stone, but you decide to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the people that like cut stones.
Okay.
So we can go there too. So I'm going to see, do I have a ruby here today that's cut? Maybe. Yeah. These are really, really little tiny rubies. And of course, there's lots of different ones that are available, but this is really little tiny rubies.
Yeah.
And those are all cut.
Yeah.
And they're all beautiful. And it ain't the size that matters. It's the stone. So you might sit with one of those in your hand or one in each hand or whatever, but they are cut. And sometimes, to me anyway, the cut stones are more focused.
Okay.
So they've got that power, but even, you could switch the orientation in your hand or put it in your other hand or put it on your body or wear it. And it may have a different effect. So your call, the size of the stone, whether it's rough or whether it's polished or faceted, can all make a difference. And again, we don't know why. We don't even have to know why, but it can.
So we're going to run out of time very quickly, which is going to lead me to the question I'm going to ask you at the end here. But I have just one quick question. So if you go into a rock store, what's the best way to choose a stone?
Well, that's a two-way story. The stone chooses you and you choose the stone.
Yes.
I've had people that are metaphysical people that come in and or ask me, I want to get an emerald, I want to get a ruby, I want to get a sapphire, I want a piece of beryl, I want this, I want that. And every piece that I've got, they pick it up and it's dead in their hands. And, there's been experiences that I've had where they're standing there picking up all of these X stones and there's a Y stone there. And, what's that? And they pick it up and it's the stone. And it just happened to be sitting, on the shelf, and they saw it there and they picked it up and, what's this? And what are its properties? Well, for you, I'm not sure what its properties are going to be, but you talk to it and it talked to you and you've picked it up and how does it feel? And I've had people pick up stones and say, wow, that feels really heavy, or that feels really warm, or wow, that stone is just biting me in the butt right now. And sit down with it, play with it. And Denise has seen this where she or someone has holding a stone and you're moving it around and it works. So
intuition,
it's
your
entirely.
intuition kind of connecting with the stone's energy and going from that.
Yes.
As opposed to, you can use book learning, I guess, to kind of see what the properties or the characteristics of a stone might be. But really, intuition's I don't want to call it the best way, but probably the strongest way to choose a stone.
That stone may be there in the shop that you've walked into, and it may not. You may be there and just the atmosphere in the shop doesn't work for you, and none of the stones are calling you, and you're sort of, nothing, and you leave, and then you're walking out and you're walking along a beach and whack, a little piece of beach agate grabs you and you take it home and it's in your pocket and it's on your bedside stand, and that's the one you came for, not the one in the shop. So we never know. I have thousands of stones at home from all over the world that I've either picked up or bought or found or were given to me. And some of them I never go back to, and then some of them become old friends. Yes.
So would you be open to coming back and doing
Is this the question?
This is the question. So would you come back and do, could we set this up as an event on Zoom in May? And I'll I'll set all that end up. And maybe we can do more of an interaction if people want to just come for the Zoom call for maybe an hour or two, and just have you come back and they can bring their stones to the Zoom call and we can talk about their stones, or they could ask you questions about things. Would you be open to that?
I'd be open to that. And I'm going to try to hold this up. I have a whole assortment of stones here that if you said, oh, I've heard about, we're not going to be able to tilt it well enough, but you can probably see assorted colors and shapes and sizes without too much glare on them. If somebody said, oh, what's this stone? And I happen to luck out and have it here, I could show it to you and we could talk about it, and I could hand it to Denise and we could all laugh when it had an effect on her or something. Yeah, any of those things.
Wonderful.
Sure.
Now, if someone would like to get a hold of you to talk more, are you open to email communication or phone communication? So
I think email would be
the
better at
best?
first, and then see where we want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would your email address be then?
Russell B, RUSSELLB 04 at yahoo.ca.
Wonderful. So anybody listening to this YouTube video could just email you there, or they could just watch the Reiki Associates calendar on the website ReikiAssociates.com. They could just go on the calendar page there and look for the event, or you could go on the Reiki Associates Facebook page and look for the event there. And we'll try and get a date and get that set up so that people have a lot of time to kind of look and see what's if they can join us at that time.
Sure.
And if they can't, they could just email you with questions.
Yes.
Or
I
if
am
they're
not an expert. There are no experts.
or if
You're
they're
the expert.
or if they're looking for a particular stone, you might be able to help them with that.
I might, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Well,
That's just
welcome.
fabulous. So thank you for joining us, Denise Carpenter from ReikiAssociates.com. If this has been any help at all, please like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.